The purpose of this brief presentation is to discuss NRCS watershed planning as it relates to the safety of Milcanton Creek Dam Number 7, also known as MC07, located in Cherokee County, Georgia. Watershed planning has been an important part of the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service mission since the 1930s. Flood control prevention, through the establishment of watershed dams, became a national responsibility starting in 1936, when USDA assumed responsibility for performing surveys and devising flood control plans for selected watersheds under the authority of the Flood Control Act of 1936, Public Law 74-738. This occurred a year after President Roosevelt signed the Soil Conservation Act, Public Law 74-46, creating the Soil Conservation Service in the USDA. The Soil Conservation Service organized its early demonstration projects on a watershed basis. With passage of the Flood Control Act of 1936, the Soil Conservation Service began watershed investigations to determine the most effective methods to control erosion and prevent floods. It was recognized that successful soil and water conservation required addressing resource concerns at the watershed scale. Congress established the watershed program by enacting the Flood Control Act of 1944, Public Law 78-534. The Flood Control Act of 1944 authorized the Soil Conservation Service to begin work on its first 11 watershed projects. The Agricultural Appropriations Act of 1953, Public Law 83-156, authorized an additional 63 projects. With the support of President Eisenhower, Congress gave the Soil Conservation Service permanent watershed planning authority with passage of the Watershed Protection and Flood Prevention Act, Public Law 84-566, in 1954. Under these authorizations, the NRCS has assisted watershed project sponsors in the construction of more than 11,800 flood control dams in 1,300 watersheds in 47 states since 1948. According to the NRCS, these projects provide an estimated $2.2 billion in annual benefits in reduced flooding and erosion damages, recreation, water supplies, and wildlife habitat. Local conservation districts across the United States play a major role in these projects. This project, MC07, falls within the NRCS eligible project purposes under flood prevention, flood damage reduction. MC07 is one of the high-hazard watershed dams in Georgia. A high-hazard dam is a dam that would result in the potential for loss of life in the case of improper operation or dam failure. The following are examples of failed dams in the United States. Dam safety is paramount to the population and surrounding areas of all dams, especially high-risk dams. The Buffalo Creek flood was a disaster that occurred on February 26, 1972, when the Pittston Coal Company's Coal Slurry Impoundment Dam No. 3, located on a hillside in Logan County, West Virginia, burst 4 days after having been declared satisfactory by a federal mine inspector. The resulting flood unleashed approximately 132 million gallons of black wastewater, cresting over 30 feet high upon the residents of 16 coal towns along Buffalo Creek Hollow. Out of a population of 5,000 people, 125 were killed, 1,121 were injured, and more than 4,000 people were left homeless. The Teton Dam was an earthen dam on the Teton River in Idaho, built by the Bureau of Reclamation. Located in the eastern part of the state, between Fremont and Madison counties, it suffered a catastrophic failure on June 5, 1976, as it was filling for the first time. The collapse of the dam resulted in the deaths of 11 people and 13,000 cattle. The dam cost about $100 million to build, and the federal government paid over $300 million in claims related to its failure. Total damage estimates have ranged up to $2 billion. The Laurel Run Dam was an earthen embankment dam that failed during the Johnstown flood of 1977. Of the 7 dams that failed during that flood, the Laurel Run Dam had the largest reservoir and caused the most fatalities. The dam failed in the early morning of July 20th after a period of heavy rain, causing 101 million gallons of water to flood downstream Tanneryville, killing 40 people. Kelly Barnes Dam was an earthen embankment dam located in Stevens County, Georgia, just outside the city of Toccoa. It collapsed on November 6, 1977 after a heavy rainfall, and the resulting flood killed 39 people and caused $2.8 million in damage. This dam failure is a recent example that illustrates the importance and need for dam safety. The dam failure destroyed 150 homes and altered the natural landscape, which will likely not become completely clear for more than a year. There are a number of state and federal dam safety programs. These include programs managed by Georgia Department of Natural Resources Environmental Protection Division and the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission at the state level, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Federal Emergency Management Agency, USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, and the U.S. Department of Energy at the federal level. Some dams are in a different setting today than when they were first constructed. Populations have grown, residential and commercial development has occurred upstream and downstream from the dams, land uses have changed, sediment pools have filled, and concrete and metal components have deteriorated. Some dams are in a different setting today than when they were first constructed. Populations have grown, residential and commercial development has occurred upstream and downstream from the dam, land uses have changed, sediment pools have filled, and concrete and metal components have deteriorated. Because of hazards in the dam failure zone, such as roads, bridges, houses, and commercial buildings, many dams do not meet dam safety regulations that have been enacted or revised with more stringent requirements than when the dams were first built. Many of these dams are also nearing the end of their planned lifespan of 50 years, and some need rehabilitating to ensure they remain safe, continue to function as designed, and continue providing flood control benefits. The MC07 dam was constructed in 1962 for flood control purposes by the USDA. MC07 is currently owned and operated by the Limestone Valley Soil and Water Conservation District. MC07 is considered a high-hazard dam Category 1. According to NRCS, high-hazard dams are located where failure may cause loss of life, serious damage to homes, industrial and commercial buildings, important public utilities, main highways, or railroads. According to the Georgia State Dams Program, a Category 1 dam is one where improper operation or failure would result in a probable loss of human life. Dams are also classified based on the dam height. According to NRCS, MC07 is a small dam, as it is a dam that impounds between 50 and 1,000 acre-feet and is less than 40 feet in height. According to the Georgia Safe Dams Program, MC07 is a large dam, as it is a dam that impounds more than 1,000 acre-feet, but not more than 50,000 acre-feet, or has a height exceeding 35 feet, but not exceeding 100 feet. The MC07 dam does not comply with and is not exempt from these dam safety laws. There are laws in Georgia that pertain to high-hazard Category 1 dams, and the Georgia Safe Dams Program is charged with enforcing these laws. The MC07 dam was originally designed to low-hazard class criteria based on the conditions at the time of design. This dam will be brought into Safe Dams compliance with NRCS assistance. The Georgia Safe Dams Program is fully aware of this dam, its classification, and that we are looking into it. Times have changed, and so have our safety standards. The following slides show aerial images of the upstream areas from the MC07 dam. Mill Canton Dam No. 7 is located on the approximate 10.5-mile Canton Creek, which ultimately drains into Scott Mill Creek. The 2,183-acre Canton Creek Watershed is in East Cherokee County, Georgia, and is part of the Coosa River Watershed. The contributing drainage basin to MC07 is approximately 3 square miles. The following few slides show aerial images of the areas downstream from MC07. As you can see, this dam is in a populated area with many homes and roadways. Approximately 7 residential structures and 8 bridges are located within the inundation zone of a potential dam failure at MC07. The following is an excerpt from the American Society of Civil Engineers 2017 Infrastructure Report Card detailing the importance of public safety and proper maintenance. In order to improve public safety and resilience, the risk and consequences of dam failure must be lowered. Progress requires better planning for mitigating the effects of failures, increased regulatory oversight of the safety of dams, improving coordination and communication across governing agencies, and the development of tools, training, and technology. Dam failures not only risk public safety, they can also cost our economy millions of dollars in damages. Failure is not just limited to damage to the dam itself. It can result in the impairment of many other infrastructure systems, such as roads, bridges, and water systems. When a dam fails, resources must be devoted to the prevention and treatment of public health risks, as well as the resulting structural consequences. The MC07 Dam is part of a larger network of flood control structures located within the Mill Canton Creek watershed. Please submit any questions or comments that you have on the increased flood protection information through the Google form link sent with this presentation.